Hey everybody. Let me make sure I can hear myself. Hey everybody. This internet is real janky at the office right now. Hey everybody. This internet is real janky at the office right now. All right, y'all, come tap in, tap in, tap in, tap in. I'm real late today. I know y'all waiting on me. I'm trying to get set up. I was running behind. I was dealing with a client, so this tax season, you know how that go, right? Tap in, Tax Tea Thursday with Tish. Tap in, tap in, tap in. I know y'all was waiting on me. I hope y'all not asleep, cause this one gonna be a little juicy tonight. Okay. I hope y'all not asleep. Somebody come in the room. People hit me up. Where you at? Where you at? Like, y'all looking for your girl. Tap in, tap in, tap in. Come on now, it's 8:47, 9:47 on the East Coast. I was running behind, excuse my tardiness. I was dealing with a client. We had to get some forms signed and da 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 da. It's tax season, so we ran definitely over on time. But I am here nevertheless. If you are in the room, go ahead and type something in chat. Hey, what's up? It's gonna be juicy, juicy. I got some text tea for you all. That's of course educational, and then I also got some tea to talk about, baby. Cause y'all know how y'all love being in other people's business. But the business that I will be discussing tonight is on the U.S. Department of Justice website. So it's not nothing that the U.S. Department of Justice don't know, right? If y'all in the room, tap in, tap in. Oh, let me check my comments. What I got going on? Hey. Sorry, I'm using a different screen today, so I'm trying to adjust myself. Let me do that. Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, welcome. I got one person in here right now. I know it's late. I'm 40 minutes behind. Usually I get here at 8 o'clock on the dot, but I am behind. Thank you all for joining Tax Tea Thursday with Tish. Tonight we will be discussing basically sometimes why you just can't pay for tax prep, right? I want to have this real conversation because I do keep seeing the issue come up over and over again, right? Where people, just want to pay for tax preparation, right? Um, when it actually you need some bookkeeping, you got some reconstruction, child, you got a partnership, and you got everything else. So especially if you are the IRS, a lot of times what I feel like this year, I'm definitely getting my target audience, which I am excited about. But this year, baby, they really coming with some stuff. And I know sometimes when you hear a tax prep fee, it may be, a little out of your budget, and that's okay. But you also have to know that you are getting what you pay for, especially when you deal with LC Financial Solutions. We are accurate, we ethical. We go through our tax returns to make sure that our clients understand the tax return. I'll never just have you sign a tax return and say, okay, this is what you owe. Like, no, I'm going to go through every single with return with you. Especially if I have a virtual client, my calls are recorded, so that way we go through everything from top to bottom. You know exactly what you're getting into, right? But sometimes, when you come into getting your taxes done, sometimes you may underestimate the tax preparation work that you need done. And sometimes when you have tax preparation, and you have all these other things that needs to be done on your taxes, like maybe having a business or partnership, or S corp, C corp, those things are more costly wise, I would say, as just maybe like a normal tax preparation fee where you only have like a W-2, right? So let me just be clear. Tax preparation is the final step of the process, right? If your finances are not in order when it's time for tax preparation and you don't have those accurate records and you're not planning ahead, you're definitely leaving yourself open to unnecessary taxes, penalties, and audits, right? I know a lot of clients, once they hear that they like, oh, what can I do? Well, you could have done tax planning, right? But you need tax planning in the following year. So for somebody, this is 2025, right? So for someone who may have owed for 2024, what you want to do is get with your tax strategist, preferably LC Financial Solutions, as you can see, right? You want to get with us to get some tax planning done, right? And again, tax planning is a service. So tax planning is not free because at that point, we are showing you ways to save money on your tax return. Okay. So again, with LC Financial Solutions, we are here to maximize your wealth and minimize your taxes, right? So with minimizing your taxes, you're going to need tax planning. Tax planning is a separate and different service. Now, granted, I do have clients all the time that I'll, give you a couple tips and tricks to help you throughout the year. But if you really want to know what can minimize your taxes, we're going to need some tax planning, right? And we're going to have to sit down, look at your previous tax returns, look at your current tax returns, and actually see where we can save you money because we are doing a strategy session, right? You can't come to me 2025 or right now and you owe $15,000 for 2024 and you're trying to see how you can get that tax down. And then a lot of times that's where a lot of fraud tends to come in at because of the simple fact that people are looking to lower their tax liability when necessarily you may already not taken out enough tax. So that's why you owe $14,000 for the year, right? Because your federal withholding was only $2,000 when you made $100,000 for the year, right? So again, tax preparation is the final step of the process. It is not the beginning, it is not the middle, it is the end. So today I'm just going to break down exactly why you can't afford, right, to skip these essential services and why trying to cut corners will actually cost you more in the long run. Again, welcome to Tax Tea Thursday with Tish. I am your tax and wealth strategist here at LC Financial Solutions, where I help high income earners and business owners and people who owe the IRS to maximize their wealth and minimize their taxes legally, right? We want to be able to keep more money in your pocket. But in order to keep more money in your pocket, we have to strategize throughout the year, right? To help you keep more money in your pocket. So again, as I mentioned before, tax preparation is just not about inputting numbers, right, into a system, right? But what happens if your numbers are wrong, incomplete, or missing? The IRS does not care that your books are messy. They just want their money. They don't really care, if you made a mistake on your tax returns. And I know a lot of people say, oh, I can file my taxes myself, which is great. But when you have a more complex tax case, you definitely want to seek LC Financial Solutions for their help. And even if you don't have a complex tax situation, sometimes you want to pay for a service, right? As I mentioned before in my previous live, it's not about always what you can do for yourself. You can do a lot of things yourself, but again, you want to pay for service because you like to be serviced. I can twist my own hair, but do I? No, I'm going to my loctician who actually, twist my hair. And if you're watching this loctician, I sent you a message and you didn't hit me back, so I don't know what's going on. I digress. Okay, but like I was saying, tax preparation is alone is not enough, right? And what I've seen lately, or I would say honestly, since I've been in the tax industry, right, is accurate bookkeeping, right? So when it comes to bookkeeping is separate from tax preparation. Again, as I mentioned before, tax preparation is the final process. It is not the beginning, it is not the middle, it is the final process. So when you come to your tax professional, right, and you say, oh, yeah, I have this business, but you don't have a business bank account. So that means that you probably get money on Cash App, cash, you got your expenses all in your personal account. And then we say, okay, yeah, that's fine. We can definitely help you with that. but you're either going to have to do your bookkeeping, or if you want us to do your bookkeeping, it'll be XXX dollars, right? Because again, bookkeeping is a separate service from tax preparation. And a lot of times, when we are creating that proposal to talk about exactly how much bookkeeping is, it is expensive, but you cannot expect us to go through 12 months of bank statements for $100, or 12 months of bank statements and then think that should be included in the tax preparation. This is why we say that you need bookkeeping throughout the year. Even if you don't have a bookkeeper throughout the year, with LC Financial Solutions, we offer quarterly options to where we can meet quarterly and reconcile those books quarterly, which I mean, overall, could still be the same amount as going through the whole 12 months. But again, when you are having that bookkeeper throughout the year, it's easier to pay them throughout the year versus coming to me with 12 months of bank statements, and you want me to go through 12 months of bank statements and you just submitted your intake form April 1st, right? So you want me to go through 12 months of bank statements and file it before April 15th. That's not how it works, right? So we want to be able to, again, go through this process with you throughout the year. A lot of times people think like, oh, you don't need tax preparation until it's tax time, but you honestly need us throughout the year to help you, again, tax plan and keep your finances in order, right? And as I said before, if you owe the IRS and you haven't done any tax planning, you're just throwing your money away instead of actually strategizing ways to legally reduce your tax bill, right? And again, tax planning is a different strategy, or different, I would say, different service fee, because when we do tax planning with LT Financial Solution, everyone's tax planning strategy is different. There's not one way to tax plan. There is not one way of strategy. There are a list of strategies that we have to make sure that is right for you, right? So if you come to us 2025 and you owe $13,000, right? And you say, okay, what can I do? Well, we can set up a tax planning call, right? Because now this is a whole type of different service, and we would have to go deep into your finances to actually understand the strategies that we need to implement specifically for your tax case, right? So tax preparation, again, is the final step, is not the beginning. You have to be able to have that bookkeeping in order. Even if you don't have a business and you are just a high income earner, withdrawing from that 401k, buying a home, things like that can affect, your tax bill at the end of the year. And especially if you are a high income earner making, I would say at least 80,000, sometimes 50,000, just depending on what the W-4 look like, right? So a lot of times I tell my clients to adjust that W-4. You cannot make $100,000 in a year, and when you give me your W-2, your federal section only says you only took out $2,000, right? And then now you're acting surprised when you owe $10,000 to $13,000, and you're like, oh my God, what I'm going to do? You're going to have to pay it, right? It's nothing that you can do but go ahead and pay it. Or not file, which we definitely don't recommend that you not do, because again, if you do not file your taxes, you do get two penalties, right? So you get one penalty for not filing, and you will receive another penalty for not paying, right? So again, you want to make sure that when you are consulting with your tax strategists, you consult with them throughout the year and just not during the tax season, right? Because tax preparation alone isn't enough at all times. And like I mentioned before, you need bookkeeping, you need reconstruction, because sometimes people don't even keep track of a bookkeeping record, right? So now we have to go in and reconstruct your business and basically build it from the ground up, because bookkeeping is the backbone of your financials, right? If you're making money and not tracking it properly, you're setting yourself up for failure. You have to be able to track your income when it comes to bookkeeping. Now, if you are a business owner and you say, hey, here's my profit and loss statement, here's my forms, everything that I need, cool. Then yes, that is a set price for tax preparation. But if you are someone who doesn't have, your bookkeeping together, and you want us to decipher through 12 months of bank statements, yes, that is going to be an additional fee. And that fee does not come out of tax preparation, because 9 times out of 10, everyone doesn't receive a refund. People are making money these days. So sometimes your refund is slim, especially if I can see on that W-2 that you made six figures and again you only took out $100 or $200 in federal. No, you're gonna most likely owe. I can look at a W-2 and tell that you're probably gonna owe, right? Without even having to put it into the system. And when it comes to bookkeeping, messy books equals missed deductions and a higher tax bill. If we don't have everything in order as far as your expenses and categorizing, you are likely having that chance of missing those tax deductions. And we don't want you to do that, right? We want you to be able to claim every deduction possible to lower that tax bill legally. If you don't have a clear record of your income and expenses, of course, the IRS will assume the worst. And guess what? They're going to estimate, right? And which would never be in your favor. So if you are up for an audit and the IRS wants to see those receipts in those documents, they don't want just the bank statement. They actually want to see that invoice, right? And so when they actually see that invoice, okay, now they will account for it. But if you don't have that invoice to show the proof, then they're going to disallow it. And so then once they disallow it, they take that deduction. It could be for 2,000, maybe they can take that off. Now that fluctuates with your actual annual gross income, right? Which again could make that tax bill higher, which is not what we want. And again, as I mentioned with bookkeeping, you may need some tax reconstruction, or bookkeeping reconstruction, which is basically fixing past mistakes, right? If your books are a mess or even non existing, we need to go back and reconstruct your finances. Again, your bookkeeping is the backbone of your business. Or even, I wouldn't even say bookkeeping, but budgeting, even if you're a high income earner, that is the backbone of your life, of your finances, right? If you don't know your money, then what do you know? So the IRS will not take, I don't know for an answer when you audit it, right? I don't know, I don't know, I don't know. They're going to be like, okay, disallow, 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 right? Again, as I mentioned, we can go back, we can gather statements, we can categorize expenses and make sure everything's accounted for. But again, that is a separate service, right? Tax preparation is not bookkeeping. Tax preparation is not tax planning. That is a separate service. And if you want to get your finances in order, then hey, you have to be able to willing to work with your tax strategist and get things in order for this year so you can be together for next year. And when it comes to tax planning is a different service, of course, but the key is to reducing what you owe, right? So when we come together and we put together these tax planning strategies, it's to help you reduce what you owe, right? It's about being proactive, right? It's a proactive strategy to legally, I'm saying that capital letters, right? To legally reduce your tax bill before it's too late, right? So if you owe a larger tax bill, the first step isn't just to pay it, right? You want to analyze why you owe, right? And then you want to go in and implement strategies to cut down that bill on why you actually owe the taxes for the future years, right? That's the whole thing. We want to be able to learn from our mistakes, right? If we are doing something or if we do owe a large tax bill, no one wants to pay the IRS constantly year after year after year. Tax planning is not the same as tax preparation. Tax planning is for you to be proactive throughout the year so we can help you legally reduce your taxes, right? So just thinking, you can't pay for just tax prep while ignoring that you need tax planning, while ignoring that you need bookkeeping, right? It's a setup for failure and a setup for disaster. And that is not what we want in the future years here. We want to help you again maximize your wealth and minimize your taxes, right? And if you're not doing that, you'll either be overpaying in taxes, underpaying in taxes, missing deductions, or like I said, even worse, you can go into an audit. And audits are just not for people with business, people who have a regular W-2 job, high income earners. They are also audited as well, right? The IRS loves a disorganized taxpayer because they don't know. Oh, excuse me. They don't know that they can collect more money from you when you don't have your finances in order. So if you don't have your finances in order, guess what? They can just be adding stuff on there, and it's maybe something that you can't even fight, right? And then now, if you do for an audit, guess what? Now you need tax resolution or you need tax representation, and then that's definitely a different price, right? That is not included in your tax prep work. So you want to make sure again that you are staying organized and proactive when it comes to tax preparation. And also remember, when you're dealing with your tax strategist, tax preparation, tax bookkeeping, and tax planning is separately, right? Um, I'm speaking pretty fast because I was late joining this live. But definitely go ahead and put a replay in the chat if you are catching the replay. After viewing this live, if you realize you need more tax prep, definitely send me a message. You can send me a text message to 630-278-3272. Again, 630-278-3272. And you can send me, that is my tax hotline number. So you can just send me a message saying that you need tax help, and we can get you set up with a consultation. That way we can meet either virtually on the phone or in person to discuss your tax case and how we can help you, right? So moving along, after we've dived into these main topics, now we're going to spill some tax tea that's been brewing, right? Some jaw dropping tax tea. I don't have any tea right now. I have some coffee that I haven't even finished because I had a long day, right? So now let's get into some tax tea. Now, again, this tax tea that I'm dropping is somebody else's business because we all know how y'all like to be in other people's business, right? And keeping your eyes on the low. So this taxi that I'm talking about today is actually on the United States Department of Justice. So typically, at the end of my sessions, I'm just going to be dropping some tax stories that are out there that I just find is just taxi, and I just want to share it with you all. So this is more of the, I would say, kind of fun part of the segment. So yeah, let's get into it. So a Florida woman, which is crazy, but listen to this, y'all. A Florida woman pleads guilty to hiding over 90 million, 90 million in offshore account. So around March 10th, the Department of Justice announced that this client, I'm not going to put their name out there, but if you go on the Department of Justice website and look up their tax information and tax crimes, you'll be able to see the same article, right? So a couple of days ago, the Department of Justice announced that a family, which is a dual U.S. and Colombian citizen from Florida, pled guilty to conspiring with her family to defraud the United States between 2010 and 2022, right? The family concealed more than 90 million undeclared bank accounts that was located in different countries as far as Israel, Panama, and Switzerland. Now, mind you, the family has been maintaining these offshore accounts since 1970. 1970. And these people are just, which was crazy because only one woman pled guilty. So I don't know if they had, a family meeting saying, hey, we going to let you take the fall forward. But since 1970, and someone is just now getting arrested for tax fraud, and y'all saying it was 90 million. I feel like it was more than 90 million. That's just me, especially if you've been doing it since the 1970s. So by the late 1900s, the family was aware that they had not disclosed these accounts to the U.S. government, nor pay any taxes on income generated from them as early as the 2000s. So that's probably why they're only getting charged from the 2000s. So fun fact, if you have foreign income, you have to report that on your tax return, right? Which is to the F bar. So you have to report that on your tax return. If not, you get a fine. They can fine you up to the amount that you were supposed to pay plus the 25% penalty. So if you have foreign income, definitely make sure you report it. They consolidated their assets in different credit banks over like in Switzerland, which I feel like Switzerland is pretty known for helping people hide their assets, and the UK as well. They conceal their ownership basically by opening up new accounts in different names and entities in Panama and the British Virgin Islands. So basically, they were just opening up these accounts and basically transferring money as people do in Switzerland I don't mean to put Switzerland out there, on blast, but usually when people are trying to hide money offshore, it's something with those Switzerland accounts that people love to try to hide money and cipher money through, right? So, despite earning millions in income from their offshore assets, the family and the person who's being charged within the family failed to report this income on their federal tax returns. And like I said before, if you have any type of federal income, you have to report that. You have to report it. You have to report it. So which they did not, of course. So by them not doing that again, they did not follow the rules of the FWAR, which is the foreign bank account and reports with the Treasury Department, right? Which are mandatory for U.S. citizens and residents with foreign financial accounts exceeding a certain threshold. And I believe that threshold it's $10,000. Well, I was studying for my IRS test, so the last threshold that I remember studying was $10,000. It is 2025, and new tax laws are being updated. I don't know if that one is being changed yet, but as of right now, it was $10,000. So if you have more than $10,000 of foreign income, that could be a rental property in a different company or any type of foreign assets that you have to be able to report that on your tax return. And even if it's not more than 10,000, I would still report it just so that they are aware and you have nothing to worry about, right? But to make matters worse, after the family was audited, right, they made false statements to the IRS during the audits and even attempt to try to dissipate and move some of the funds to the US through a shell company, basically falsely claiming the money was a loan from a foreign relative, right? So they basically tried to say, oh, this is not money that we made. This is a loan that we got from a family member, blah, 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 blah. And it's not uncommon for people to make fake text documents. It's plenty of Facebook groups out here that's making fake W-2s, fake check stubs, fake whatever you need to get whatever you want, right? So again, from 2010 to now, they basically hid $90 million. And honestly, I just feel like it was more than 90 million because the family been in business since like the 1970s. So I just feel like it was probably more than 90, but that's probably the amount that the IRS could probably track. Because at that point, going back to the 1970s, of course, banks and electronics, is not as up to par as it was back in the 1970s. They didn't have internet and all that electronically going on like they do now. So that's probably why they was only able to track it from 2010, right? So after they basically tried to make these fake documents, which was crazy because y'all could have just gave them the real documents and then just paid the fee. But you wanted to try to be sneaky, and they tried to do some fraud documents, didn't work. Um, so, as a part, basically, after doing all of this, as a part of the plea agreement, because they did find the family member guilty, right? So a part of the plea agreement was for them to pay a civil penalty over 20 million to resolve the civil liability for filing for FBAR. So again, FBAR is with the foreign account. So basically, if you have an account that's over 10,000, you need to go ahead and report that to the IRS on your tax return. So the family has to pay back. Well, she has to pay back because she was the only one who took the fall, which was crazy because it was an entire family, unless she was doing something behind their back. But typically, I feel like if it's 90 million in the family, y'all didn't had this going on since the 1970s. I'm sure she's not the first person to defraud the government, but that's not neither here or there. So again, she got to pay $20,000 basically in penalties to the FBAR, and then she faces a maximum penalty of 5 years in prison for conspiracy charge. So conspiracy basically saying like she came up with this on her own, right? Now, which is crazy, right? Because she basically did had offshore accounts for $90 million, and she only going to do 5 years in jail. And well, the maximum, right? Because there's even not guaranteed that she's even going to get the maximum sentence. But if it is 5 years in jail, and she only got to pay back 20 million, and I'm sure her family has the 20 million, and then the 5 years is going to be fed, so it's not like she going to like a hardcore 24-hour lockdown penitentiary, right? But Yeah, that was my tax tea for today. How long have I been on here? 30 minutes. So that's all I'm gonna do for tonight, y'all. I do apologize for being late, but when my tax clients need me, I definitely have to be there for them to make sure that they understand everything. So that's why I was late tonight. I was gonna do it tomorrow, but I like Tax Tea Thursday with Tish. Again, if you are watching this again, go ahead and put replay at the bottom. Go ahead and like, comment, go ahead and share this with your friends and family. And then again, just like I talked about earlier, the whole point of this tax tea with Tish today was to just talk about tax preparation is the final process and why you may need more than tax preparation and why it may cost you more. So if you do need help with tax preparation, tax planning, bookkeeping, any type of financial planning, definitely go ahead and send me a text message at 630-278-3272. You can just text me what you need and then I can also send out the link. If you are watching this from my personal Facebook page, go ahead and either send me a DM or you can go into my bio and click the link and book an appointment. And if you are watching this from my business page, thank you so much for watching from my business page. Make sure that you share it as well. And the same thing goes for you all. If you all need assistance, you can either text my text business line at 630-278-3272. Or you can click the link in my business section as well and go ahead and book that free consultation. So we'll be able to meet and discuss your tax strategies that you need. Thank you all for joining me tonight, and my apologies again for being late. And if you all need anything, please feel free to reach out. Personal page, Letitia Wilson, business page, LC Financial Solutions. And thank you all. Have a good night and do not forget to share. Bye bye.